What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here. Hope all is well. Be sure to like and sub as you continue doing your own research, and let's get right into it. So, if you have already read the Pastebin post by David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, 2 days ago, you may want to click another video. I want to go over this and go over some very, very big bullet points. So even if you are a seasoned cryptocurrency vet, you're aware of the platform, you're aware of XRP, you're aware of the friction in the current ecosystem and understand the correspondent banking network, this video may still be for you because, of course, this is from David Schwartz, some incredible bullet points that I think we need to have as reminders and hear his points of view during this digital currency war, along with this Cold War between countries. Some big things are occurring, and I will be going over this PayPal news at the end of the video. We know they have 300 million customers. We know Venmo has made some announcements and bigger things are coming in Q1, but it is also rather deceiving. So we'll be going over this, and yes, you can roll your eyes. I'm going to be reading some of this verbatim. If you don't want to watch that, that's fine. Click another video, and as always, I appreciate everybody that supports me. So right here, this was posted 2 days ago. Pardon the typo. I don't know why he dated it November. Not sure if it was a little hint. I know he loves cryptography, but right here is a summary. Ripple improves international payments, the company, for enterprise customers by building a modern, interoperable international payment and settlement system, RippleNet. The software, of course, it also includes the network of users based on blockchain tech, atomic swaps, on-demand liquidity utilizing XRP, etc. Our ultimate goal we call the IOV, Internet of Value, making payments as easy as email for enterprises of all sizes and for consumers around the world. Obviously, we're not going to build all of that by ourselves, referring to the infrastructure. It's an audacious goal, and in 8 years, we've learned a lot about where the challenges are, also where the opportunities are. Keep in mind, they've been meeting with the top 40, 50 central banks and governments in the world for years now. I mean, dating back even with 2015 with ILP, meeting with the IMF, BIS, World Bank, should be no surprise. So right here, the good news, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, can make domestic settlement faster, more reliable, and less costly. We even had the Bahamas going live. We have, the digital yuan predicted to be one of the big currencies in the future. The DCEP, this is the digital currency electronic payments. We have a variety of countries. We go over them, talking about CBDCs. We have the Ukraine with XLM, Accenture, and the Digital Dollar Project, tons of initiatives across the board. You cannot argue this or dispute this. We have need for making even domestic payments faster. We have the Fed Now initiative, which supposedly is still years away. And I don't think we can afford to wait. There's going to be a lot of innovation. And I think that the governments of the world are going to have to team up with the private sector. Why? Because they have the war chests, they have the money, they have more flexibility to innovate, and the government can just merely adopt. Right here, domestic payments, within a country are very important because they're the endpoints. So you cannot have good international payments, cross-border payments like we want, utilizing XRP for a portion of those payment flows, without good domestic settlement. International payments are more important than you might think because they're so inefficient today. They often simply don't take place. That's insane. Most emails would not have been sent by postmail if we didn't have email. Absolutely. Similar to Jevons paradox, when we have an increase in efficiency, instead of demand going down, it actually increases substantially. And this is what I foresee for payments as well. The communication, and guys, don't get me started on the number of fintechs and businesses being built upon this. It goes way beyond just, typical payment schemes and, working on lending and all of this. All right. So the communication simply would not have happened. An enormous amount of valuable commerce simply doesn't happen because international payments are so slow, unreliable, costly, and complex, and essentially opaque today. It's not transparent. You don't know when the payment will get there. You don't know where it is. You do not know if it went through 2 people or 14 different middlemen. There's typically a domestic transfer on each side of any international payment. Makes sense? And if those don't work well, the international payment does not work well either. Right here, international payment systems with good characteristics such as speed, certainty, and low failure rates will obviously be huge, but those benefits would not be seen or will not be seen by the endpoints of the payment unless the domestic components on both ends have them too. Correct. If you are making, and I saw Crypto Addy, King Solomon, everybody, and David Schwartz touch on this, if you make international payments really, really high speed, even just several minutes with RippleNet, and the domestic payment side still takes, 2 hours, 2 days, it's going to make the domestic technology look inferior. And these governments wouldn't want that either. So we need to update everything across the board. right? So countries that don't modernize the domestic systems will not see the benefits of the revolution in payments taking place today pushed to the endpoints in that country. Right here, we've discovered that the biggest obstacle is often the very last hop, or maybe the last mile if you guys work in telecom as well, getting the funds to the payment recipient through the domestic payment system. But lacking connectivity to consumers, CBDCs will not solve the last mile problem that has made modernizing the international payments so difficult. Next, even if you imagine some future with one world asset, which a lot of people imagine, I personally don't see it one bit, we won't get there unless the new one world asset is going to be compatible or interoperable with where the value is today. So either way, compatibility is key. Agree with that? Right here. So there's definitely an opportunity here to bring domestic real-time payments, RTP, such as FedNow, the clearinghouse, which we've talked about. Many of the tech providers there in the United States are also compatible with Ripple and have had, we can go over slideshow, talk about CGI, Finastra, ACI worldwide. There's several behemoths there. There's no disputing that. With powerful benefits for SMEs, these are small, medium enterprises, and ultimately consumers around the world. So we've already talked about the typical things. We've talked about domestic endpoints, the importance of getting CBDCs to help domestic clearing and settlements. We've talked about the last mile. We've talked about international payments and digitalization and interoperability. Now let's talk about the task at hand within itself. So we can see right here, payments and settlements are definitely in the pre-internet state today. So there's this huge mismatch, walled gardens after walled gardens, very limited interoperability. The liquidity is spread out and enterprises need to keep money spread across the systems. Imagine if we had some type of decentralized or maybe just a bit more distributed a type of pool of liquidity to draw on demand. Now, there can be retail use cases, there can be wholesale use cases. I don't think it's going to be a single coin. Now, I do think that XRP has a phenomenal chance to act as this type of bridge asset and to solve part of this problem, because as we know, this problem is measured in the trillions of dollars. And we're also going to talk about something exciting regarding securities. We know Coinbase and Ripple have invested into initiatives like Securitize. We've seen Mickey B. Fresh even speculate, Mr. Fresh Time on Twitter, really interesting, talking about Securitize being part of the plan all along. And I'm not trying to be hypey, but we understand that everything will be tokenized, hence the phrase, all the money. We have ILP, which is completely asset agnostic. This is not coincidental. This is trying to create neutral assets, a level playing field, and I think we understand the opportunity at hand here for a variety of assets that we study on this channel. All right, so right here, the result is a high cost due to trapped funds, trapped liquidity, and the need to pre-fund transactions often days in advance. So let's keep going. If each country has their own CBDC or starts using stablecoins denominated in different regional currencies, a digital euro, digital USD, British pound sterling, yen, yuan, etc., we essentially risk repeating the same mistake again, creating all of these walled gardens that cannot communicate and interoperate effectively. So we drastically need interoperability between these virtual currencies and between virtual currencies and traditional assets and systems. So we are not only building the bridge to this new technology to allow these new technologies to interoperate, we have to build the bridge to allow the traditional to interoperate with the modern system. Now, he has a huge point that I want to cover talking about Bitcoin. And you guys know my thoughts on Bitcoin. I wish all of you well. I would love for Bitcoin to moon because you know what it means for my other alts that I am personally holding that have a lower market cap. I'm here for one thing, an ROI, a return on my investment, just like I assume many of you are. So if you're looking at cross-border, the key factor is interoperability. You're working across jurisdictions and across assets. And keep in mind, when securities, real estate, all of this is tokenized, it's going to be much more than just these types of fiat CBDCs that are going to need to have interoperability. You need a neutral asset in between different CBDCs. For example, let's say the Argentine peso and maybe the Singaporean dollar. We need a bridge asset between them, or your liquidity will be divided among them, among these pairs. Similarly, if other assets such as securities around the world get tokenized, I think I already said that, there's even more need for a neutral asset between multiple CBDCs and possibly a large number of new assets in the new asset class. You can think of every single equity, every single security, tokenized art, digital identity, We can talk about even, intellectual property. All of these will be tokenized in the future. You have to pay attention to the kids in this ecosystem playing on video games. These trends are your friends, and this is going to be happening with or without us. If you are 70 right now, you can't pay attention to what 70-year-old bankers are doing. You have to look at the 20-year-old kids and pay attention to what this new system and, the higher populations will be bringing. All right, talking about central bank digital currencies. Okay, here's the Bitcoin point that I want to hammer home. Please keep an open mind. Understand this is David Schwartz. He has years of experience in this environment, way better than me, and the caliber of people that he works with. So I honestly am quite hesitant to assume that I'm better equipped to even challenge him in this regard. He would personally destroy me without question. So keep an open mind. Right here, Bitcoin is sometimes pitched as the interoperability solution in the early days that almost seemed believable, coming out and arising out of the, of course, 2008 financial crisis. But as we now have some 1,500 cryptocurrencies, depending where you look, you can see 5,000 plus cryptocurrencies that exist today that do not interoperate amongst one another, and almost nothing non-crypto that is significant interoperates with Bitcoin. We have recreated a newer version of the same walled garden problem. Instead of building an internet based on compatibility, interoperability, we built one network and required everyone to join that network, requiring too many sacrifices too quickly. Enters XRP and the XRP ledger. Essentially, it has to be based on the bridge, not walls. This new internet. And what is an internet? A network of networks. This is going to be the same thing for ledgers and databases. So we need to be basing this new ecosystem on bridges, not walls. This is exactly what this whole PayID initiative is, the Open Payments Coalition. And yeah, I know some people don't want to specifically call it Ripple's initiative, but I do, because the actual PayID white paper has David Schwartz. It has the gentleman from the Logos Network, which is essentially the XRPL building derivatives, and Ripple acquired this company. And then it also has Spring, which is now called Ripple X. So, I mean, whatever, however you want to see it, this is all money behind Ripple for the XRP ecosystem, right? So XRP and the XRP ledger were built specifically for this kind of role. And then lastly, let me just read here. But XRP can be the hub or backbone, I almost said Bitcoin, that provides the fast international payments or settlement piece. It won't solve the last mile problem, but will help with interoperability and concentrating liquidity. Notice what I was referring to as kind of a pooled type of liquidity instead of having scattered liquidity, so enterprises don't have to keep funds in every single payment system. Very interesting. And if you guys want to read this conclusion really quick, just repeat what I said at the very beginning. CBDCs can make domestic settlement more efficient, and that is very important. And that is why it is a good thing. When I share CBDC news, I'm showing digitalization, interoperability, DLT adoption. And even when it's just updates for digitalization, they're still going to interoperate with DLT networks. That is why I'm sharing this, because we are edging ever closer to the world that is being realized. You can't have good international payments without good domestic settlement. We need both. They are complementary to one another, just like Jevons paradox. They are not enough by themselves, and expecting them to bring benefits to small, medium enterprises and end users is unrealistic unless we do a number of things. One of the things we discovered at Ripple the company is that you can give an enterprise a fantastic payment rail, and they will still be hesitant to push that benefit to their customer base because it makes the less modern parts of their system seem worse or unacceptable. It may be better to only provide payments that settle in 2 to 3 days than to sometimes provide instant payments. That blows my mind. People will now be more dissatisfied with the slower payments than they would be if you didn't seduce them with the better experience they only sometimes get. Crazy to consider. Feel free to screenshot this, and the links are in the video description. To some extent, you have to do everything to do anything. Yeah, well said. But CBDCs can have a role to play. It still leaves getting to and from the end user and interoperability across jurisdictions and different fiats. All right, and to close things out, just want to kind of go over this. So PayPal to open up a network to cryptocurrencies shared by Reuters. We see based out of London, PayPal Holdings Inc. said on Wednesday that it will allow customers to hold Bitcoin and other virtual coins in its online wallet. Notice XRP was not named in this list. We have, 26 million merchants on their network. Everybody is just excited, and it is exciting, but this is, to me, I'm expecting much bigger things on the horizon. Let's just leave it at that. It's a good step in the right direction, of course, and getting more attention is always great for the whole cryptocurrency space. But yeah, I'm not posting rocket emojis yet. even if we do see, 14K Bitcoin. So the new service makes PayPal one of the largest US companies to provide consumers access to cryptocurrencies, which could help Bitcoin and rival cryptocurrencies gain wider adoption as a viable payment method. All right, so PayPal's not necessarily buying them. We're working with central banks and thinking of all forms of digital currencies and how PayPal can play a role. They're thinking of how PayPal can get a slice of this pie. That's what they're thinking. Right? US account holders will be able to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrencies in their wallets over the coming weeks. PayPal plans to expand the service to its peer-to-peer payments app, Venmo, in some other countries in the first half of 2021. The ability to make payments with crypto will be available from early next year, the company said. So keep in mind, guys, typically we've seen time and time again, and I know you're going to dislike this video because I'm saying something that doesn't make everybody happy, but I'm still just a tad bearish. All my points that I've said in September still stand. And do I believe in massive prices going to all-time high? Yeah, absolutely. I'm in this market. I've been in this market, living and breathing it more than the majority of people even comprehend. But just understand the whole concept of buy the rumor, sell the news, and just please be careful. I have cash on the side because I'm not fully convinced that we are going to the moon just yet. Right? So the company has over 346 million users around the world and processed $222 billion in payments in the second quarter. Their shares went up 4%. Remember what we shared, that Crypto Whale Medium article talking about these huge institutions deceptively marketing Bitcoin and acting like they're purchasing it to take advantage of the stock price and taking advantage of typical people. And it is so easy to take advantage of crypto Twitter, as you guys know. You've seen it. You can get a million retweets if a company just does something simple or mentions Bitcoin. I think you guys are well aware of that. All right, so keep this in mind. Now, something I want to talk on is right here. So Galgatron just touching on this. It turns out that PayPal's crypto offerings are all fake proxies. You can't even withdraw or transfer these coins, only use them with PayPal. And of course so. I'm not surprised one bit. Why? PayPal wants to take advantage of these fees, take advantage of the spreads, just like Coinbase. And I'm not trying to talk badly about any company, but it is in their best interest to be profitable. It's not to yet interoperate and allow you to move your Bitcoin to a wallet. That defeats the purpose. So for all of you anarchists that are all about Bitcoin, utilizing PayPal with that seems a little hypocritical. All right. And right here, so we have Liberty Blitz. You can't even move Bitcoin from PayPal to your own wallet. It goes without saying, but do not use PayPal to purchase Bitcoin. Currently, you can only hold cryptocurrencies, you can buy, etc. The crypto in your account cannot be transferred to other accounts on or off PayPal. That doesn't really seem to be talking about interoperability now, does it? All right, and then keep in mind, this is old, shared by X_Anderson, definite follow. Remember, David Schwartz talking about this a while back, the source, International Monetary Fund staff. He knew this stuff a long time ago. Remember his YouTube video talking about algorithmic stablecoins? The hints that he gives are, unbelievable. Oh, we even got this guy Matt right here sharing the pay spin. It's very, very, I highly recommend you guys read this article or just at least save it for later. And notice, new forms of digital money, talking about CBDCs, talking about stable coins like Tether based on trust, first generation crypto assets like Bitcoin. We have global stable coins that are proposed like, Facebook's Libra. And we also have private digital money. So, and of course, these are just kind of branches of one another. Just wanted to read that last one. All right, and then last but not least, so shared by Julian Flash, we have Brian Brooks. You guys have seen this clip. I'm not going to play it, but just understand, Brian Brooks, formerly Coinbase, overseeing the entire U.S. banking system. He's saying the same talking points that we have people like Ripple or the former CFTC chairman, Chris Giancarlo, who represents Ripple with his law firm, and of course, he is an advisor for Ripple. You guys have to understand, smell the roses and understand what is coming. There's going to be very few of us. I know you guys think, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 people, even 1 million people aware of this transfer is big. But in the scheme of things, we are just specks and should not be surprised for what's to come. And those that are properly hedged, diversify wisely, and are patient are going to make an absolute killing in this market. Again, one man's opinion, not financial advice, but seeing everything that we've seen, I think you guys can agree with me. We have, Ripple right now. People are afraid that Ripple can dump, and this is the same thing that's been happening for, since Ripple even became a company. Ripple's arguably wanting XRP price to appreciate more than any of us, more than a nobody like me. They want to grow a sustainable and liquid ecosystem for the XRP. For XRP is the native asset on the XRPL to create a true flywheel effect. We know we are nearing the end of that first wheel, and then you can set it and make it actually, autonomous. The opposite can be said, and I completely understand that. But if you really think Ripple just got valued to be roughly $10 billion, they're going to go public and try to dump XRP on some of us holders, that is laughable. They can smell the real money by going public, launching and being a successful company, and making XRP being one of the most utilized bridge assets in this new economy. That is where the true money comes, and that is where they can potentially become the Amazon of payments. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. Sorry if I read a lot of this, verbatim, but hopefully this sheds some light as you guys are, walking your dog, commuting to work. As always, I appreciate all that like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.